Okay, so Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I just went and saw this. This is my spoiler review. So I saw a lot of kids in the cinema and I was fairly surprised at that. Look, I'm not judging. I'm not a parent, so I can't say what's okay for your kids if you have kids, but it just feels like it was a pretty intense, bloody movie to bring kids to. So just a word of warning, if you do bring your kids to this, you might be paying for their therapy bills afterwards. So anyway, this sort of felt like The Boys, if The Boys was in the Marvel universe. It was like a weird blend of The Boys slash Marvel slash horror, because of course it was directed by Sam Raimi. And look, I'm not going to say it's the best Marvel movie I've ever seen. It doesn't even break my top 10 if I'm being honest, but I did enjoy it. I was never bored. I was always entertained. So anyway, let's get into the review. So when I heard that Sam Raimi was directing, I thought of that movie that he directed, Drag Me to Hell, which is a very ominous sounding title, but it was actually a pretty good movie. I highly recommend it. I feel like it's a very underappreciated movie, and yeah, I love that he brought the two things that I love together. Scary things and horror and superheroes. My two worlds are colliding.
Worlds are colliding!
And I feel like the Marvel formula lately has gotten a little tired. You know, it's a little bit too over and over repeating itself, and I feel like this just brought something new. It brought something fresh to the MCU. So when it came to the visuals and the score, it was good in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, there was nothing wrong with it. But I know everybody is praising Danny Elfman, I think his name is, his score. And yeah, I just didn't really see it as something exceptional. You know, it wasn't like The Dark Knight. I didn't stop and think, wow, this is amazing. But it was okay. Anyway, when it comes to the plot and the script, I feel like it needed some work. It didn't always feel very cohesive. It didn't really flow as much as it should have. It didn't really feel like, I don't know, it naturally went from one stage to the next. It felt like there was a lot of editing that had obviously been done, and I just heard today, after watching Jeremy Gans, however you say his name, his review, that the original director's cut was like half an hour longer, and you can definitely feel this. You can definitely feel that it's been heavily edited. So I really enjoyed the themes of good and evil, like how we had the good wander in the other multiverse universes, and then we had the evil Scarlet Witch, and how we had the good and the evil version of Doctor Strange. I just feel like it brings such an interesting discussion to the table, you know, of what makes a hero a hero. Like, everybody is capable of being evil and good, you know. It's like how Sirius said in Harry Potter, the world isn't made up of Death Eaters and good people, you know, there's shades of grey. And it just feels like a whole discussion of nature versus nurture, about how in a different set of circumstances anybody could go to the dark side, sort of, and we see that with Doctor Strange as well. Well, there's characters that you do feel like are definitely more moral, like Captain America. You know, he's not as powerful as Doctor Strange, but he's more powerful in who he is as a person, in his morals, in his character and integrity, you know what I mean? Where Doctor Strange has always sort of felt like he's one step away from just going full on villain. Let's talk characters. First we have America Chavez. Yes, I always think of like Homelander and his big billowing cape of American patriotism. I feel like he should loan America his cape so they can both just go around with the American flag on, even though they probably wouldn't get along because she's a good person and he's evil. But anyway, the point is, I feel like she was a character that is just okay. I didn't love her, I didn't hate her, she was just there, you know. And then there was Christine Palmer, and I feel the same way about her. I didn't love her, I didn't hate her, she was just okay, you know? It just feels like there was no payoff of her being in the movie. She didn't drive the narrative further along. There was no plot development really. Like, yes, she did have a few emotional scenes with Doctor Strange where they talk about how they can't be together and then they're not together, and then that was it. And it was like, okay, well, I already knew that in the first movie, so why are you here? So Doctor Strange felt like he was overshadowed in his own movie by Wanda, and I couldn't be happier because she was definitely the standout to me. This was her movie. And you know what? She created the problem and she fixed the problem in the end when she died. So she's sort of the hero and the villain in the same movie. And also, Strange. Okay, so he just rubs me the wrong way. I just feel like he's always so ready to abuse his powers. Like, I don't really care that he's arrogant because most of the MCU types are pretty arrogant. So, you know, it's more to do with the fact that he's ready to abuse his powers. Like, we see his character. He is going along with America Chavez and she steals some food, and the vendor who was selling the food, you know, he gets angry because he's just been stolen from. Instead of Strange saying to America, hey, maybe check that the food is actually free before you take it, he instead attacks this guy and makes him punch himself in the face for like 2 weeks in a row. And you're sitting there in the theater and everybody's laughing like, haha, but you know, you go and you think about it, like, this guy is literally getting attacked 2 weeks in a row for trying to defend his business. Like, that's a really villainous thing to do. Anyway, when it comes to Doctor Strange, I just feel like he's always one step away from turning into a villain. Obviously, he didn't get there. With great power comes great responsibility talk. Okay, so let's talk about the kills. Okay, so if you were a horror fan, you would get that. So anyway, the scene where Wanda kills everybody on the council, like she uses Agent Carter's Captain America shield, flings it to her and slices her across her torso, and then she explodes that guy while she closes his mouth so he can't use his powers to talk, and just like explodes his head. And that was definitely my favorite scene in the movie. And no, I am not a villain. I'm not a sadist. I just really enjoyed that the MCU were doing something so different. It just felt really fresh and like a new approach, and that's what I enjoyed so much. So we see Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, finally gets what she wants because America has this really great idea to give her what she wants, to unite her with her kids. And I don't think she was thinking, oh, her kids will see her and freak out, but still, that ended up happening. Her kids saw her and she had this moment where she realized that she turned into a villain, and it was just, I thought it was really well done. It was like the embodiment of be careful what you wish for. So in the end, she turns good in the last 10 minutes of the movie and uses her powers to save the day. Like I said, Doctor Strange didn't really do much in his own movie. It's like if you've ever seen The Big Bang Theory, there's this episode where the guys are talking about how Indiana Jones was pointless in his own movie. And it sort of felt like this, like, it feels like Doctor Strange was sort of pointless in his own movie. Like, yes, he did save America a few times, so I guess she would have been killed by the Scarlet Witch. You know, okay, he did do something, I admit that, but still, in the end, it was the Scarlet Witch who saved the day. And apparently she's dead, but I don't really think so because we never see her corpse, and if you don't see a dead body in the MCU, it's usually a sign that they're not actually dead, just like Bucky. So we also saw some red magic at the very end, and that shows that she is alive, I think. So I just think it's going to take more than her getting buried under a building for her to die. So I think we're going to see her again. I'm hoping we will anyway, because I really enjoyed her going to the dark side. So I would give this 7 out of 10. I didn't love it, but I wasn't bored. I was always entertained, but it definitely, like I said earlier, doesn't really make my top 10 list for Marvel movies. So let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I would really like to know what you all thought of the movie. And also, if you could subscribe, like, do all of that stuff, it really helps me out in the algorithm. Thanks, guys.